Hey, y'all. All right, let's get the folks together on Facebook here to join us. And we could get started. All right. Give me just a sec. All right, getting it together real quick so that we can get the show going. All right. I love this song. It's one of my happy songs. I love it. Such a vibe. All right, give me just waiting on the internet to do what the internet does, so we can confirm that we are on live, and we are. All right, let me turn this off. It's just the jam. So the jam. All right, hey y'all. Hi family. Hi. Um, Welcome to the Just Chamia Show live community check-in. How y'all doing? It is Sunday, February 28th. It's the last day of Black History Month. How y'all doing? How have y'all celebrated? Did you game yourself up with Black history facts, like with these Black history flashcards by urban intellectuals? Shout out to Black business. What y'all do for Black History Month? I mean, it's Black History 365, we know, but did you do anything extra? Did you learn anything new? Um, what's up? How are you? How am I doing? Let me start with that. I am grateful for my health and for my family. Yeah. I am ready. I am feeling ready today. I'm ready for spring. I am ready for whatever comes next in my life. And I'm ready to do some work, like some good work for my community. I have lots of stuff going on, certainly for my businesses, but just ready to do the work that we need me to do, community. And I'm excited. My day started today with a prep call for the Black Women's Wellness Retreat, which is an annual event. It's my first time attending, and I will be a featured speaker leading a workshop there. And so we had a call for that. We're moving forward in the spirit of all things will be well with COVID. This is coming up this summer in Jamaica. Hosted by Dr. Kathia Walters Knight, who will be our guest next Sunday here on the show. So we had to reschedule before, but she is coming, y'all, to answer all of your mental health questions and topics. She's going to be here for the whole show. She is excited for the Dear Love segment. She was like, can I do that part? You know, so she's going to give us her thoughts and opinions, you know, hashtag aunties on deck, to answer all of your questions about Black love, mental health, all of that. So that's next Sunday. But this Black Women's Wellness Retreat is coming up. The dates are July 25th through August 2nd. And Dr. Walters will be here to talk about that and tell us more, and just really to answer any of the mental health questions that we have. And we need to be talking about it because mental health is wealth, is overall just part of what we need to be aware of, tapped into, and we need to be healthy mentally in all capacity. So I'm excited to have her coming next week. I'm excited for this retreat and to bond in Blackness and sisterhood and do all of that. So I'm all, yay, so excited for that. So that's how I'm doing. How are y'all? Hey to everybody that's watching on Facebook. Hey family, thank you for pulling up and supporting. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, Cleopatra Jones vibes. Sure, thank you. I'll take that. Happy Sunday to you. I am going to dive in by sharing some things that I've seen over this past week or so from around the gram, really since our last time together. And we will get it popping from there. Lots of good stuff to get to today. So first, let me start by sharing my screen with you and a few things from around the gram. Okay, so first I thought this was funny, and my cousin Kim posted this. Thanks, cousin Kim, for sharing. And I've seen it around social media a few different places. And Black History Month, and folks saying, "Hey, we know that this cover is part of Black history," because I don't know how many Black households you know of, but I know a bunch that had this set. So I thought that was funny. You got to get your kicks where you can. Shout out to everybody who survived the madness in Texas like this, pipes busting and all of that. I know some of my relatives down there, didn't have power, have had pipes burst. And then I'm hearing that, it'll be April before they can have somebody come out and do the repairs. That's crazy, but they're just so booked and it's been so much. So, shout out to all of our people down there living and making it do what it does in Texas in spite of some of the challenges that we're facing. This is one that I saw from Sis Layla Green out here in the Bay. What's up, Miss Beautiful? And in this, you have this person saying, as a person of color, don't you, and the sis is like, no, I'm Black. But don't you identify as, no, Blackity, black, I'm Black. And I think this is important because, especially as a communicator, one of the things that I do is educating around language. We talked about weaponizing language here. And POC is one of those things that white people are doing right now to say, not us, the rest of y'all. And if you look at the history of the term colored, right? And where that came from. And now here we going back and trying to get comfortable calling ourselves colored again, people of color. No, I'm Black. Y'all call me what I am. Even if it means you got to identify people, take some time, a few more seconds, and say Black and Hispanic and Asian and Native American and all these different things. Do that instead of just lumping us into y'all over there, POC. Nah, I'm Black. So you call yourselves what you want, but be aware and take a stand. So I love this. As you see my comment to Layla, this right here. Yes, sis, PLC is offensive to me. Don't call me that. Some of the stuff is news, things that we're going to get into. Shout out to the Black folks who are posting fitness routines that are really, really good for us. This one just touched my heart. I love the kids. Let me turn it up. I love this baby. Now, sometimes I do that. Sometimes you just got to sing and whatever your spirit. But when people be trying me, I'd be like, like looking around. I'm going to reuse this in so many different capacities. She don't know what ammo she just gave me, but I love this. And also remember who you are and just having your own energy and loving your moment. So I love that. Of course, we're going to talk about verses last night because so that's Trap Yoga Bay, who's left us in the Bay, but is on and still doing great things. And I love her class. If you have not taken a class from Trap Yoga Bay, a sister that is, making yoga fun and twerkalicious and trapped out and all of that and talking some real shit. Check her out. Anyway, so she posted this. No, your life isn't messed up. Your thinking is fucked up. Let's fix that shit. And I mean, real talk, right? A lot of us will think that, the world is ending, or, my life is so this or that. And it's not even that. It might just be how we're thinking about a situation, our circumstance, a person, whatever, that needs to be adjusted. So it's not your whole life. It just might be your brain, like how you're thinking and processing things. So check yourself so you don't wreck yourself. Those are a few things that I saw from around the gram. Of course, there's so much more. I don't even share what I see on Twitter or Facebook or, whatever, but because there's so much. And, I love my Insta therapy. So those are some things that I saw. Y'all keep coming with and sharing things with me. Thank you for the DMs. Thank you for the emails. Thank you for the text messages. All of that, to both share things that you think we should be discussing as a Black community, to ask your questions, to, share laughter and joy throughout my week. Thank y'all. If you want to get in touch with me, Quick reminder, you can DM me anywhere at just Chamia, JustChamia, anywhere on social media. Of course, we are streaming the show here on Facebook at Chamia LaRae, so you can contact me there as well. You can always email info@ChamiaLaRae.com. Please do that. As a reminder, we are doing, filming actively, a documentary around our Black experience living through COVID. So I want to hear from you. I want to hear from y'all. What do you think? How's your experience been? How you living? What you hearing? What your questions are? And, you know, all of that. So if you're interested in having a casual conversation with me just like this, hit me up, DM me, email info@Chamia LaRae. I would love to talk to you. All right. So let's get down to the business. All right. And first, of course, we're going to start with talking about COVID and updates on that. So last time we were together in the United States, there were 27.6 million cases of COVID, 108.7 million globally as of today, this morning. And again, you have the link for Johns Hopkins University, their tracker, but there's several other organizations that track as well. So as of today, we are at 28.6 million here in the United States and 113,959,461 cases globally. We ain't done. COVID ain't playing, y'all. It's still doing that. So amidst all of that, and then there's a lot that's happening globally with COVID, but I want to bring it right here to the United States, and I want to bring it to us, because what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what we're being told is that in a lot of places, cases are going down. And I shared with y'all last time we were together that I felt we were more like in the eye of a hurricane. So we're not through the storm yet, but just in this period where things seem calmer, partially because of the variants, the presence of the variants and how they're taking over. And we know the limitations that we have both in seeing them, so testing, and then also in sequencing of the variants, yada, yada. Nevertheless, what's happening? What's happening is restrictions are being eased. Things are opening up. Spring is approaching. And what I'm hearing everywhere is people are rolling stuff back, hanging out, traveling more, opening up. They're like, oh, go back to school, go back to church, go back to the gym, dine indoors. Not only is outdoor dining open, but come, let's sit down in the restaurant and breathe all over each other and talk and ha 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 and do all the things that we do when we're eating and drinking. So all of this stuff is going on. Black people, how are you keeping safe? Because COVID is still out there. The variants are here. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. Variants are here. How are you keeping safe? And I ask that question because, you know, I care about y'all. Black people, you know, I love you. So how are you staying safe? Are you double masking when you go out? Are you not doing the indoor dining? I hope none of us do that. Are you venturing and doing some outdoor, but only if it's only a few people and they way up over there? Like, what are you doing to stay safe as things are opening back up during COVID? As there's a push to put your kids back in school. Are y'all sending y'all babies back in this academic year, or are you just hoping for the fall? Share your input. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know what your questions are too, because we deserve to have answers to our questions so that we can make informed decisions for our lives and for our community. So questions are important, answers even more so. And I want you to do that. Thank you, Mommy. I love you too. And I'm proud of you. And thank y'all, aunties, for the love on Facebook. Yeah. All right. So what are you doing to stay safe? What activities in your life? What are you doing in your life that you question if it's safe or if it's risky for you? So think about that. What are the behaviors that you're not sure of? And Black people, we need to think like this. And so I'm asking these questions not because I have all the answers for your life, because I'm not in your life like that, but I want you to be thinking about these things too. What are the things that I'm doing that might be a little risky or I'm not sure of, so that we can evaluate those risks and make informed decisions? And then what do you think about the vaccine in the healthcare system with COVID and the information that you're getting and receiving? I know personally more people who have gotten the vaccines. I know some people who have only had their first shot. I know people who have had both shots. I know a bunch of folks who have gotten the shots who have had some adverse experiences. First shot, folks say, they tolerated it generally well, maybe had some stiffness in the arm. Some people said that they had some bad taste in their mouth, some jaw pain, some headaches, maybe felt like they were coming down with something, but that was just that day and they were fine. But the second shot I'm hearing, whether it's the Pfizer or the Moderna, is laying people out. And they're like, oh, I was out for 3 days and I felt like I was going to die, and then, whatever. So if you had the vaccine, how has it affected you? And as you were experiencing whatever effects you may have been, side effects you may have been experiencing, did you let your doctor know? Did you let your care team know? They need to know what people are experiencing, what are the common side effects, and also what's not common. So I encourage you, if you've gotten the vaccine and you are experiencing something, that you share that information with your doctor and share it with the community. We need to know, like, what's common. Oh, I know cousin Pam had that too. Oh, okay, yeah, she said that. Oh, I didn't heard 18 people said they had that headache, but it goes away. You'll be fine. So we need to know these things too. Hey, cousin Keisha, I miss you and Mitri. I do. And I can't figure out, there we go. I want to give you a heart emoji. And I'm like, how do I do this right now? It's not working for me. Anyway, so I want to know these things. Of course, I encourage you guys to stay informed of the numbers, particularly the numbers in our Black community, the incidence of COVID, the death rates, all of that, which, I've already shared that I think will be much higher, a couple years from now when we look back at this. But you can visit covidtracking.com/race. Which is a tracker that is shared by The Atlantic. I will post it here in the comments for those of you, again, on Facebook. I've shared this with you before. So Johns Hopkins, to see the overall case incidence, this covidtracking.com/race, to see where it is in the Black community, the incidence of death for counties and states that are reporting that, all of that. We need to know where it's at. Another resource that I've shared with you before, I will also say it again here today, apmresearchlab.com/COVID. They have lots of information by race. So demographics there, stay informed. All right, let's come on and talk about some other stuff that's going on with COVID. And yes, I promise you I'm gonna get to the variants, okay? But one of the things, again, as things open up and people are like, oh, the weather's getting nice in certain places where you're not defrosting like Texas, but the weather is getting nice. We're coming into spring, flowers are blooming on trees, birds are chirping, and flights are cheap. And so people want to go places. And they're traveling. I'm going to post this link in the comments for those of you on Facebook, or who may come and watch this later on Facebook, or who may see this on YouTube and be like, what are these links that you talk about, girl, these articles you shared? You can find them here on the Facebook. So this first piece, and I'm going to pull this up and then share my screen with y'all. Because in order to travel a lot of different places, even here in the United States, you have to be tested before you go, and sometimes before you come back too. So you got to have tests, have proof of your negative test results. So what are we seeing? Well, one of the things that we're seeing is people lying about these test results. So this is an article that came out from BBC, Joyce Etutu, and I just will read some of the highlighted portions here. Coronavirus has changed the way we travel, and many countries now demand proof of a negative COVID test before letting you in, with tests often costing hundreds of pounds. So hundreds of pounds are hundreds of dollars. So they're in the UK. That's what they're talking about there. Okay. BBC reporter Joyce Etutu has been speaking with 2 women who admit to using and selling fake certificates. So one of them, 24-year-old Louise, traveled to Ghana in October using a fake negative COVID-19 test certificate. The documentation some countries require to prove you don't have the virus and are fit to fly before you leave. So Ghana is one of those countries, and Louise says that she needs to travel there for work, but she couldn't afford the cost of the test. So the test back home for her can cost between 100 and 300 pounds. So she looked into getting a fake certificate. I just asked people I knew, who does Photoshop? I asked my friends to see their COVID test to get a structure of what the certificate looks like, and then had someone make one for me. Currently, it is the responsibility of the airlines to check that passengers have a negative test result. So the point here, and I'm going, there's a little bit more, is you just don't know who got what, right? And who are you relying on? You know, this person at TSA or this person at the check-in counter to say, oh, this person is free based on something that's on their phone or some slip of paper that's easily fakeable. Like we have to consider these things when we're making the move. So y'all need to know, here's this sister that wrote this article and was talking to a few people. Names have been changed, of course. But I've talked to a couple of people that say, yeah, we did that. Can't nobody got time or to be, can't afford to be going and getting these tests and doing all this stuff. So, we Photoshop something. I had my friend mock something up on their phone, and this is happening. And this is just, a snapshot, but this is happening all over the place. Here we go, another one. Jessica is also 24. She admits to selling fake COVID-19 certificates to people who wanted to travel abroad by advertising her services on social media. She was like, y'all going? I got you. She says it was, quote, easy money. They didn't want to pay 150 pounds for a private test, she says, so we charged them 50. There's a market for whatever you want. People are going to get what they want and do what they want. So you have to be informed of what's happening and how people are moving so you can make a smart choice. And the fact is that right now, it's not safe for us to be out here gallivanting around the world, and the pandemic is largely unchecked. The variants are popping up all over the place. Testing is a problem all over the place. Treatment, if you get the shit, is a problem all over the place, including here in America. So, like I've been saying, it's about limiting your risk of exposure, and you need to know what's up. But I thought that was something, right? Wasn't that something? So you need to know that. All right, let's talk about the variants, because I know you want to talk about that. So what's new? What's popping? I done told y'all about a whole bunch of variants over the last couple of months. And there's more. There's new variants popping up all over the place. So there's one that they think may be unique to San Francisco here in California. We know about California, there's a whole classification of variants that were similar to the one from Denmark. So we're talking about two different things there. There's a new suspected variant in New York. We talked last time about the new UK variant. So there's two different UK variants and several others, right, popping up. So you need to know that there are more variants that have been identified in this since last time you and I talked, okay? We also know that sequencing for variants of the United States remains ridiculously almost non-existent, right? Non-existent, with us still sequencing 1% or less than 1% of tests for variants. In Brazil, so we know that there's a Brazilian variant, but there's multiple variants circulating in Brazil. But in Brazil, we're seeing cases surge, we're seeing new lockdowns, and the variants are traveling. So why is it important for us to be aware of this? Anything that's happening somewhere else in the world can be happening at your doorstep the next day, the next week. And that's what's happened throughout this pandemic. So we need to be mindful of what's happening where, how it's impacting people, because it could be here next. So I wanted y'all to know that too. Do a quick Google search, and there's lots of news articles about what's going down in Brazil just in the last few days. But yeah, so here in the United States, we're still sequencing less than 1% of tests for variants. We can't see the variants, but we know that they're here, and we know how they work because we've been told how they work and how they spread from the other parts of the world where they came from. And then, people traveling, moving all over the place, they brought them here. So the problem is we don't have a national program for sequencing. I'm going to get into some more on that. Why this is dangerous first, because I have some articles I'm going to share, but why we need to be aware of these variants and why Chamia is stressing this to you is because what we're being told, words matter, what we're being told essentially, without anyone saying the words directly, is that the variants got to America and then they chilled the fuck out. So we know that in the UK, that first B1112 variant, that first UK variant was 50 to 70% more contagious, at least 30% more deadly. It was all over the place. South Africa variant, surge, became the predominant strain of COVID there. So we're seeing where these variants have popped up. Same thing, a Brazilian variant. All these places, these variants have popped up. They're more contagious, which means, more illness, more death, potentially. Several of them are not responsive or as responsive to these vaccines. So how is it possible? How is it possible that the variants behave these ways everywhere else in the world? They show up and they explode. They're everywhere. But they come to America and they've been detected everywhere here in America. All the Brazilian, South African, UK, whatever, in addition to these other variants I'm talking about. But they come here and they chill out. Oh, we just got like 2 cases over here, 7. We fine. It's not as bad as they were making it. Everywhere in the world, it acts like this. But over here, we're so special in America that these variants get here and come on, y'all. So this is why we need to game ourselves up. We need to pay attention to what's happening everywhere, because what's happening everywhere could be happening here, and it is happening here, and we're being told something different. So know the information so you can make informed choices. I see y'all comments coming. I'm gonna be checking for comments in a minute. I want to get through these couple of articles first on this. I'm going to post a few things in the chat real quick for those of y'all on Facebook, and I'm going to walk through some stuff. This first piece, CT Mirror. So this is this Connecticut publication, independent journalism, nonpartisan. You know, they claim to be all of that because they like, look, I want y'all to hear what we saying and take it in. So let me share this piece with you from the CT Mirror. So the headline says, have a case of a COVID variant? No one is going to tell you. All right, I'm just going to read a little bit of the highlighted text here. There's a couple other pieces I want to get through, so I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time, but you have the link. Read it for yourself. Take away from it what you take from it, but I'm going to show you what I've taken from it and why I think it's important for us, why I just told you the why. So here, COVID-19 infections from variant strains are quickly spreading across the US, but there's one big problem. Lab officials say they can't tell patients or their doctors whether someone has been infected by a variant. Federal rules around who can be told about the variant cases are so confusing that public health officials may merely know the county where a case has emerged, but can't do the kind of investigation and deliver the notifications needed to slow the spread. The problem is that tests in question for detecting variants have not been approved as a diagnostic tool either by the Food and Drug Administration or under federal rules governing university labs, meaning that the testing being used right now for genomic sequencing, which is how we need to detect the variants, is being done as high-level lab research with no communication back to patients or their doctors. Amid limited testing to identify different strains, more than 1,900 cases of 3 key variants, so that's the South African, the Brazilian, and that first UK strain, have been detected in 46 states. Pause. Those 3 variants in 40, how many states we got here in America? 50 something, 50, 51, 50 in territories. So the variants have been found all over the country, in the majority of this nation, 9% whatever of this nation, right? They everywhere, y'all. But we can't see them, and what we can see, we can't tell you that you got it. Ain't this some crazy-ish? Did you know? I read this article. I was like, what? You know, I'd be sitting here with my, I don't eat popcorn, but like my invisible popcorn, and eating stuff and reading these articles, and I'm just like floored. Like, this is stuff we didn't know that you don't hear about mainstream, but it's so important for us. More to come. Stay on this, y'all. Into your comments as I'm sharing this information. Did you know? Did you know this? How does this impact how you moving? What do you think? Put those in the comments. All right, here's another one that I have from the New York Times. Let me paste this in the comments for those of y'all on Facebook. And of course, I am going to share my screen with you. All right. So this New York Times piece, the title here, and this came, when was this? This was last week before, Ash Wednesday. CDC announces a $200 million down payment to track virus variants. Calling it a down payment, the White House said that the investment would result in a significant increase in the number of positive virus samples that labs could sequence. So again, if there's a positive COVID test, then it's sequenced to see what variant of the virus. But we're only sequencing less than 1% of tests currently, of positive tests currently. Public health laboratories, universities, and programs run by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, sequenced more than 9,000 genomes last week, according to a database. The agency said the agency hopes to increase its own contribution to 25,000 genomes a week. The program is the administration's most significant effort to date to address the looming danger of more contagious variants of the virus. A concerning variant first identified in Britain that has infected at least 1,277 people in 42 states, although scientists suspect the true number is vastly higher. So we know this, y'all. I'm telling y'all that we in the eye of the storm. They talk about, oh, the numbers are down, go on and live life like it ain't COVID, send the baby to school, go eat in a restaurant and do all that. Nah, we can't see these variants. The scientists know, they're screaming. The numbers are higher than are being reported. These variants are out here. The fact that we have detected the variants, those big three that I've told you in 46 states, crazy. And then they get into talking about, how much sequencing should we be doing? So I shared before, certain countries are sequencing all smaller nations. Some like the UK are sequencing now 10%. We're less than 1%. Dr. McManus, who is a geneticist at this institute, said that the minimum gold standard will be sequencing 5% of virus samples. Minimum. And there's all this debate back and forth about it. And then there's legislation that's being introduced. So we're talking about this $200 million investment that the Biden administration has made. Meanwhile, Congress people are proposing a $1.75 billion investment into doing this, and that we need to sequence at least 15%. So y'all need to know this, because there's a whole bunch of debating going on and money moving around and decisions being made about your life and how you can move and should move, but you're not being given all the information you need to move in a safe way. So that's part of what I'm trying to give you here. Please read the articles, take what you take from it, share information, send me what I need to know too. If I'm misinformed, let me know. But this is what it is. And we're learning from the rest of the world and then seeing how it's applied here where we live, where I live at. And I'm like, what? Why? I'm like, who? Like little girl that I showed you at the beginning of the show. Like, why are we doing this? This is not how we save and protect Black lives. So what we need to do, community, us, is to game ourselves up. Look for the information. It's widely available, even if it's the articles that you have here. Take the understanding for yourself so you can make informed decisions on how you're going to stay healthy and live. So while we know that sequencing is a failure here in the United States, and it is, just call it what it is, it's a failure, it's a hot ass mess. Some of the other things that they're doing, and I will post this link in the article as well. And I believe we talked about this a couple of months ago. But I want to dig a little bit deeper into this story as well. So I haven't gotten all into the guts of what's going on with this. I'm just going to post the link here, but let you know that one of the things that they're looking to do, given the challenges with the sequencing and the nightmare that it is that they are looking to tracking coronavirus variants through sewage, so through wastewater, poop, and all of that. And this is something that they've been doing in different places, universities, testing things out. So y'all look at that. And I'm wondering, like, what are they doing? How are they applying that science now? Like, is this happening like wastewater sewage testing to see other things that are prevalent in community? I don't know. I have so many questions on that, but this is one of the things that they're looking at. I shared an article from Axios.com, but there's several other around testing of sewage and waste to track COVID. And there's been several articles on this over the last, at least the last 6 months, but this is a more recent one. So what do y'all think? What do y'all think about that? Let me pop and take a quick look into the comments, see some of the stuff that I may have missed. You are not safe anywhere yet. Keep your mask on and stay away from people, right? What a word. There's so much.
I love this song. It's one of my
favorite songs. This is what happens when I go off and trying to click and learn and do some new stuff live on the show. Okay, we don't know who's infected. I'm not ready for travel unless in my car in short distances. Safety first, don't travel. What a fact. A friend is flying out on Tuesday to Hawaii and was told that if he doesn't have the results of his test, he can still take the flight. What? He can still take the flight. If the results are not available by arrival, he will have to quarantine in his hotel. These people just want their money. That's what it's all about. It's not about health. It's not about what's best for you. It's not about the psychology of the children. It's not about any of that. It's about economics. And so we need to know about that. And economics are important, right? But what's most important for me is my health and my life first. What's most important to me is your health and your life and our collective Black health and wellness. And so this capitalist stuff, we need to be able to weigh, right? Look at the scales and see, does this seem like something that's really for my health and my general well-being and benefit, or is this a money move? And a lot of the things that we're seeing are money moves. Keep them coming, y'all. Lots of good comments. Vaccines. I have a ton of questions and I need answers for me, for my family, for us, before I make a move. Again, I've just shared a little bit ago that I know several people, friends, family, relatives, colleagues, whomever, who have of all ages too. And so I'm like, I know she had no pre-existing condition. How you get the vaccine? How you get up there in the line? But anyway, I know a bunch of people who have gotten the vaccine. Y'all know where I'm at with it for myself, right? But I have a lot of questions and I need answers. We need answers so we can make informed choices and decisions. Some of my questions you may have. So part of it is so many people, including doctors and nurses, because I talk to a lot of them, are unclear and cannot articulate what the vaccines actually do. So they might be parroting what they heard on the news. Oh, the vaccines make you immune to COVID. That's not what the vaccines do, though. So there's all these claims of immunity, that you'll be immune to COVID. And there's claims, it's so crazy, babe, you will not die. Like they're saying that about some of these vaccines, you will not die. And I'm like, oh Lord, please don't smite everybody where they stand or where they lay. Because like, who knows? You can't say what somebody gonna die from, what they won't die from. What? And the fact that I've heard this repeated again and again and again, that is insane. With this vaccine, you won't die. What? Oh, wait, y'all really got some $1 billion products on y'all hands and y'all can guarantee life with a shot. But that's what they say, and I want to know how that shit works. So that's a question. How long do these vaccines last? For whatever they're supposed to do for you, how long do they last? I watched an interview that Brother Lester Holt did with the CEO of Pfizer, and he asked him this question: how long does your vaccine last? Again, CEO of Pfizer, and he said, well, we need to see. We're monitoring over time, because again, this stuff is all new, and they just did, made it and rolled it out. So they're like, we need to see what happens. We have data for 6 months, but we don't know what happens a year after you've gotten the vaccine. We got to wait and see and then test. So that's the thing, we don't know. With the launch of mass vaccination sites, because they're popping up all over the place. Here in the Bay Area, we have them at the Oakland Coliseum. We have it at, I believe, what do they call that one down in Santa Clara County, whatever y'all people down there call that, the Moscone Center in San Francisco. All over the place, and not just here in California, all over the country, mass vaccination sites are popping up because they want to get, as many shots into arms, as they can. But one of the questions that I have, and I wonder if you guys wonder about this too, and I wonder if you have a response, if you do, share it with me. Will the sites, these mass vaccination sites, get the same vaccines over time? So is the Moscone site, for example, in San Francisco, a Pfizer site? Is the Oakland Coliseum a Moderna vaccine site? Is the Forum in LA, if that was one, a Johnson & Johnson site? Or are they going to mix? Like they get whatever supply they get that week, that day, that whatever. That's major. Why? Okay. So then what happens over time? Can you mix the vaccines? Have there been studies in that? What are the side effects if I got, whatever appointment I can grab, because they're telling people to grab an appointment when it's your time and you can. If I got an appointment for my first shot over here and it was the Moderna, and I asked somebody this week who got their second shot, I was like, well, what'd you take first and what'd you take second? They didn't even know. Is it safe if you mix the vaccines? If you got the Pfizer one first and then you get the Moderna one? Yep. Yes, Miss Chocolate Diamond and your t-shirt line, please post the link to that in the comments as well, because we want to support Black businesses here. So she says the Johnson & Johnson is only 65% so working. So what's the point of taking it? I want to talk about that because there's been some stuff happening with these vaccines in the last week, in the last couple of weeks, and last month. So we saw that the FDA over this weekend has approved, or I would say they have granted emergency use authorization for Johnson & Johnson's vaccine. Before I talk about that, let me paste another link in the comments, and I'm going to share my screen. So I just posted a link to this piece from the FDA. I'm going to share my screen with y'all because this is still in the line of all the questions that I have. Let me know if y'all have some of these answers because I want to know. So this is from the FDA. This is on the 25th, so just a couple of days ago. Coronavirus update. FDA allows more flexible storage, transportation conditions for Pfizer's vaccine. Today, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced that it is allowing undiluted frozen vials of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine to be transported and stored at conventional temperatures commonly found in pharmaceutical freezers for a period of up to 2 weeks. This reflects an alternative to the preferred storage of the undiluted vials in ultra-low temperature freezer between all these sub-Arctic, 112 degrees, negative 112 degrees and negative 176. This change is being reflected in updates to the fact sheet for healthcare administrator, So FDA did this. Y'all got to watch all the moves that's being made, right? So they're talking about, oh, we know the 2 shots won't be enough, so we need to give a booster shot. What the F is that? They're talking about tweaking the vaccines. Oh, with all these variants coming up and they're less effective, so we're going to tweak the formula. There's that. Now they're talking about these vaccines that we've heard from the very first approval, which was the Pfizer, and the Moderna came next, that with these new RNA vaccines, they have to be stored at the super ultra cold subarctic temperatures. And, there was this rush to get all these new freezers and stuff everywhere. But then what's happening now? What's happening now is they are saying that, oh, no, you don't have to store it. You don't have to store it super cold. And they're saying that this other one, which is less effective, 65%, is approved. Well, I have questions. Why the change in the refrigeration requirements? Why the flexibility with safety? Is it about safety or is it about market competitiveness? So the same time that the FDA is doing this for Pfizer, we have this new Johnson & Johnson vaccine that's given emergency use authorization, which we know from the data is less effective. However, it's a single dose. It's easier to produce and distribute because they don't require the same subarctic refrigeration requirements. So when I look at the stuff being done and the decisions and things that are being granted, and they're telling you to take this thing, we know it's less effective, but we could get more of this out to people faster, cost less to make, faster to make, don't have to refrigerate it the same as 1 shot instead of 2. Y'all go on and take that. And we look at the tiers too, and what's coming. The majority of the Black population is going to be in this last tier to be vaccinated. And what are we going to get, y'all? I bet you this. Johnson & Johnson, who killed us with the baby powder products and the talc and all that, they about to, okay, let me not say that. We need to be aware. this stuff is looking real sketchy to me. And I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong. But it looks really, I'm side eyeing a lot of stuff. So we don't know those things that I meant. I don't know those things. Those are some of the questions that I have. Why do we need the booster shots, and for how long? Do you have to get boosters every? They're setting us up for you to have to get these shots every year. I don't take the flu shot. There's people who take the flu shots who don't take them every year, but now we're gonna have to get these coronavirus vaccines every year, boosters, however many times a year. What are the long-term side effects of the vaccine? We have questions. And it's relevant because information is power. So I want y'all to look at that. Share information is what I'm doing with you. COVID is still COVID out here. Variance is everywhere. F what the numbers they talking about, because we know that the tests are either false negatives. We're not sequencing for the variants, the positive tests that we do get. And we know that they out here. They saying, oh, only 1,200 people in America. That's a lie. It's a lie. It's not the truth. It's not the truth. There's more of the variants out here, so we need to be aware and sit down. All right, y'all. That's my COVID spiel for the day. I hope that you learned something. I've learned a lot from reading these articles. I'll keep sharing it with us because our health is important to me. I love us, and I want us to be able to make informed decisions. So that's what it's about. I want to pivot now to talking about racism in America. Y'all keep sharing your comments in the comments, or DM me, text me, whatever you guys want to do. I'm here for it. We spent time last week talking about weaponized language. And that's a very real thing. It's certainly happening on all facets, not just when it comes to racism, even when it comes to our health, even when it comes to how we look and how we think about each other and engage with each other. Language is weaponized against us, and we need to be aware. So keeping an eye on the terrorist attack that happened last month in Washington, D.C., and the language used there, extremists, all this other kind of stuff, instead of calling these people terrorists. What's happening? We need to watch what's happening and what's not happening with the investigation, with the prosecution of the terrorists, all of that. What's happening today? Today, former President Donald Trump is going to speak at the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC. So Papa coming to tell all y'all what y'all want to hear. It was stolen, whatever he gonna say. We gonna see what he's gonna say. But I want y'all to fashion your hats, your wigs, your lashes, and your nerves and prepare for the spin. That I can guarantee you is going to happen. There will be some spin after the speech. So we need to see, keep an eye on these things, because it impacts how we're governed. It impacts when it's your turn, what applies to you. We know, there's two different systems, but it's not just that. You have to learn so you can assert precedence for yourself, for your community. This is what happened over here, and this is what the outcome was. So that's what you see when there's legal proceedings. They cite all these different cases and the outcome to support their argument. So we need to know what's happening. So when shit happens to us, because it will keep happening to us, war on blackness. Hello, we talked about that. We know how to defend ourselves. We have some things in our arsenal, including what they do in our arsenal, their language in our arsenal. All right. So some of the things that have happened since the last time we were together, and you guys can look these stories up, but it's a reflection of racism in America, and it doesn't get it doesn't get all the same hype as certain things that generate hashtags. But any violence against us, any profiling against us, any discrimination against us is unacceptable. Right? And it happens all the time, every day. So one of the things that happened since the last time we were together, there were 3 Black boys, 3 babies that were shot by this white man, Joseph Broussard, at a gas station in Fort Wayne, Texas. So he killed 19-year-old Anderson Reddick, and he also killed 19-year-old Joshua Cole Cooper, babies. And he also shot and wounded 20-year-old Jalen Rice. This happened at a gas station. This man he's been arrested. He's all on camera everywhere, shooting him at the gas station. They tried to get away, and he followed him. Craziness. So he is charged with murder and attempted murder, but not as a hate crime. Interesting. So you know, I feel for these families. As a mother to a young Black man myself, um, I got to pay attention to this stuff, and it worries me. We need to know, and we need to not let this stuff slide by. You know, he and anybody committing acts of violence, hate, and discrimination against us should be prosecuted to the fullest extent, right? So I want to see that. Another thing that happened, pardon me just a moment. Another thing that happened is another baby, high school senior, Rodney Reese, near Dallas, Texas. So it was so much going on. I'm like, this baby was walking home from his job. And the story goes that someone called the police to do a wellness check because this Black man was walking in the snow. So this boy, this baby is a high school senior. He was walking home from work. Police came up and he's like, no, I'm good. I'm going home. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm going home. I don't need, and I watched the video and he's arguing to be left alone because he's done nothing wrong. And they arrested him. And then I watched the video, the interview of him, of how traumatized he is. I have it on my gram. I thought about posting it and sharing it here. Oh, I will. Let me just share it with y'all. Give me just a moment, because it's heartbreaking and it's unnecessary. Give me just a moment. I'm gonna cue it up. All right, let me share my screen with you. You can Google this story as well, but let me share this baby's experience. All right.
Just because I'm Black, I fit the description.
Entire encounter was caught on camera. The high school student believes he was arrested because he's Black, but Plano's chief of police believes his officers' actions were not racially motivated.
Man, you trying to get home? Are you trying to get home?
18-year-old Rodney Reese was stopped by Plano police officers while walking home from work at Walmart during the Texas freeze last Tuesday night. Police say someone called, concerned that a Black male wearing a short-sleeved shirt was stumbling along the icy conditions. It was a welfare check. Reese lives with his mom just a few blocks away, right down the street from where he works. He repeatedly told officers he was fine.
Sir, look, we just want to talk to you. All right?
I'm on the way home. I'm straight.
Okay, but you're walking in the middle of the road.
I understand that. Okay.
Yeah, but it's icy. It's icy. There's snow. I mean, I don't know if you've been where snow and ice is. You're trying to walk on the most level, straight piece to be safe. He's telling them, what did he do wrong? The video goes on. Let me skip forward.
Because you're pushing her.
Look.
You are not.
Hold on, let me bring it back.
I got an ankle problem. Please get off. Y'all not, no. I'm sorry, I didn't even touch.
Yeah, you didn't stop. Put your hands behind your back now. You are not free to go.
Wow.
The next thing you do is going to be get a charge right now. Because you're pushing her.
I'm not pushing. How am I pushing?
Reese was arrested for walking in the street. The official charge, pedestrian in the roadway. The high school student spent the night in jail.
They just treated me like I was a criminal or something.
The teen says he was walking along the street because the area off to the side of it, seen in this photo taken the next day, was covered in ice and snow.
All right, I could go on, but you get it. So this happened to this baby. He's traumatized. He spent the night in the jail for walking home from work in a safe way. So this happens to us. And this is not okay. So when we think about and we talk about racism in America, this is an example of it. This stuff happens every single day. This baby, high school senior, working, responsible, walking safely, minding his business. Officers come, no, I'm good. You know, what should you do? This is not okay. And this kind of stuff happens every single day. This kind of stuff, as a mother to a young Black, as a Black woman myself, says that we're living under constant threat and danger. That you can be arrested. Now, the charges were dismissed against him. But I mean, duh. Like, that's not victory. That's not justice for him. He's had this experience now. in high school. How do you remedy that for this young man? This officer, he's not doing anything. And then you know, she's like, well, I'm going to give you a charge. He's like, for what? For what? Do y'all see the craziness? Do y'all see the craziness? So when you go to your job tomorrow and you show up and you turn it on, remember that this is the kind of stuff I carry with me. I can't turn my blackness off. You can't turn your blackness off. So we need to be aware. And this is where we need to be putting our time and attention to the things that impact our daily lives and our health. This is affecting our mental health. This is affecting our emotional health. This is affecting our social health. This affects our wealth, our everything. I see this. Sad for the young man. These actions must stop. Absolutely. Slave catcher's mentality. And now he's in the system. Right? Right? What right do they have to do this to us? Okay? So it doesn't have to be this way. I'm convinced that it doesn't. But it starts with us taking some power back. So as we talk about racism in America, I'm going to pivot to talking about some other things. One thing that happened last night, and I said I was going to talk about it. Let me pull this up because it was everything to me, and I have commentary. So let me share my screen again in case you missed it. Find it somewhere so you can watch it and get into it. This happened last night. Let me pull this up. Sharing my screen. As could fall, not even if my boss should call. The world it seems so very small, 'cause nothing even matters at all. Nothing even matters, no. Nothing even matters at all. Nothing even matters. See, I don't need no alcohol. No. Your love make me feel 10 feet tall. Without it, I go through withdrawal. 'Cause nothing even matters at all. Nothing even matters. Because I can live in that. I was at the show last night. So I was at the Versus with a lot of us in the Versus, and it was a beautiful experience. I needed it. So I'm going to talk about that. And I'm going to talk about it in the context of racism in America, because what I saw, what I experienced last night and what it did for me, it was soul food. It was fulfilling to my spirit. It was revolution. It was Black love, and Black love is revolutionary. And that's what we need. That's what they don't want us to do. They don't want us taking time and feeling good and paying attention to Black excellence and Black greatness. And we saw that last night. Now, I know the comments were funny and there was a whole bunch of funniness and woo, because whenever we get together, we gonna do what we do anyway. But in the midst of all this crazy going on, we still persevere. Right? We still, it was amazing. I made notes on Post-its because I was at the show and I was like, I just got to write down my thoughts as I think of. So bear with me as I flip through my Post-its. One of the things that I liked in some of the theme through the Verses last night, and we heard it, and maybe there's some correlation between the recent release of Judas and the Black Messiah, the film that came out, and I don't know if y'all watched that, but support Black film, Black artistry, period. Support Black artistry. Hello. So one of the themes coming through last night through the Verses was the importance of supporting Black businesses, right? We have to do that. And also all power to the people. The people are the power. There's power in our collective unity. And I loved that message from D'Angelo and friends. It made me think through some of the activities that have also happened. So I talked about the movie that came out. There was also a naming of a street here in Oakland off of Mandela Parkway in honor of Huey P. Newton, one of the founders of the Black Panther Party. There was also a celebration this week that the Huey P. Newton Foundation did in Oakland with athletes and all that on Facebook Live. You can go back and watch that on their page, which is great. But just the celebration of Blackness, commitment to supporting each other through the arts and through business was important. And I took that away from Versus last night in the midst of all of this going on and the war on us and the attack against our sons and our daughters and ourselves and our psyche. We have the soul food being given. And I love that because again, Black love is everything. It's essential, it's revolutionary, it's healing, it's divine, it's all of those things. So that's some of what I got from the verses. So what did I like? What did I'm saying here? I'm trying to read my chicken scratch. Oh, of course, the friends. We love the friends that came. Of course, I lived for Method Man and Redman to come because I love them on their own individually with the groups that they've been a part of, including Red and Meth and all that they've done together. The Woo movement, all of it. And then, of course, with D and all the music that they've done together. So that was amazing. I hated the abrupt end to Send It On because that's any abrupt ending. And I was going to say something graphic, but I'm changing it because my mom is watching. The mashup, Nothing Even Matters, and that her did with D'Angelo. Who expected that from Gabby from Vallejo? I mean, it was an amazing surprise. It was an amazing surprise. Best part and Nothing Even Matters mashup. I mean, I was screaming in concert and doing all of that. The soundtrack of the ladies clapping and throwing roses. Chamia was part of that number. So that was amazing. I loved it all. What else do I have that's relevant? Because all my notes were relevant last night, but in the daytime, they're like, not so much. One of the things that I liked about it, and I like about the Versus experience, but certainly last night, it was a combination of being in concert and being at church and being at home with, 120,000 of your closest friends. And if you think about the overall Black population and how people could be watching everywhere, it's cool that last night I had a shared experience with Ava DuVernay and Timbaland and Babyface and Problem and India Arie and LaToya Luckett and Little Mo and Holly Robinson P and my sister Rena and Kanya Doss and Deion Ferris, the people that I like and love, and we all at the show. My cousin Jahari, like we all at the show together, and it's just a few of us, and we're doing it in this wonderful way, being fed spiritually. So I took that from the Verses. So this is me, claiming my Blackness, my identity, and Black love, and living in that. And it was amazing, and it's very powerful to do. So of course the comedy was also, like I said, funny because we act up anywhere we go. So the comments of who all up in here, what friends did I miss? These the friends, so we did all of that. I also thought the after party was funny with, his name is Affion Crockett. So he's a comedian, and Spice Adams. So Spice Adams, if you don't follow him on Instagram or social media, is a former football player. And he's hilarious. So they did a whole spoof of the Verses right after the Verses. And I was so weak. It was so funny. Me and my sister, one of my sisters are texting back and forth, and it was hilarious. It was comedy. I was at the show. I was at the party in my PJs, having a blast, dancing, singing at the top of my lungs, chatting emojis, giving the artists all the love and energy that they need. And giving my thanks for them feeding my spirit. And I love that. So they talked about giving him his flowers last night, giving D'Angelo his flowers. Flowers were given everywhere I landed on social media last night. And I encourage us to do that. Show people that we love and appreciate them and support them. So it's very, very critical that we do that. Just a second. Yeah. So did you guys watch the Verses? What did you think? I'm here for it. I loved it. It was good spirit food for me, soul food for me. It was revolutionary in that it was Black love, Black artistry, Black creativity, energy, all of that. Hello. James, did you have something in common? Did you watch the Verses? What you think about? Thanks for joining the show.
No problem. I actually have a couple of friends that should be joining. They wanted to talk together with you, if that's okay.
Okay. So what's on your mind as you wait for them to join?
So, what's on my mind? I guess what would be on my mind is and I guess it's the city we live in right now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Say more.
I mean, it's all crazy and like, are people mad at each other? And please remove him. Just remove him.
Okay, I think he's muted. Okay, so yeah, the city times are crazy.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. Everyone's like mad at each other. Everyone's sad at each other. It's all sorts of madness out here in these days.
So what do you do to combat that?
So what I do? Like, well, I try to help people. Yeah, I try to help. I volunteer. You know, just the basic stuff. I try to make sure everyone's more kinder.
Inspirational.
Yeah.
Definitely. And
What else? What does everyone? What does everyone else do to make the community better?
And Jason, you're off mute. Were you adding to what James was saying? Are there other things that you do, or do you have the same observations that he does? Maybe we lost Jason.
No, Jason's still there. I can hear him.
Yeah, so I've been having a hard time. Can you please not interrupt me, please, Bryson? Thank you. Yeah, so I've been having a hard time with anger management. And I've been taking it out on people.
Oh no.
What?
No, I think we lost Jason in the middle of his comments, and then there was another person who just came on, and we may have lost her as well. But yeah, so I didn't get to get into what he was saying, and this other person, Lisa, are you on? No.
What? Say that again.
Oop. Okay. So that was interesting. I don't know, but thank you guys for joining. Thank you for contributing to the conversation. Yeah, it is crazy out here, and trying to serve the community and being good examples are things that we can do, that we can all do. So keep it going, keep the comments coming. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts. All right, so before we transition into Dear Love, I think it's important to talk about self-care always. I just shared with you part of my self-care is music, and also, you know, participated and listened to the verses last night. Some of the other things that I've been doing for self-care over the last week or two, gardening, because I love that, and it brings me lots of joy just being out in the sunshine and helping things to grow and new life, and you know, just the whole thing of that. Exercising, gaming myself up on things that we need to know. Again, thank you to all of you who share articles with me, videos, things that we need to know. It's great. So thank you very, very much. Oh, y'all talked about D'Angelo's fur coat. That was interesting. I loved it. You know, I'm here for the show. He's an artist. He has to give us all the flavor with the boots, everything. So I've been doing that. And of course, spreading Black love. That is very much part of my self-care, because giving is so fulfilling. And so doing that and spreading love in all the ways that I do to those who I share with, and family and community, all of that is very important and fulfilling to my soul. So I want to hear what are some of the things that you all have been doing for self-care. I hope that you're committed to taking care of yourself and feeding and sewing into yourself. So share some of the things that you have been doing for self-care as we get ready to talk about Dear Love the Movement, hashtag Dear Love the Movement, and get into your love letters and comments. Because I am so excited for this. So keep your love letters, questions, topics, comments coming in. You can send them to me, DM me anywhere at just Chamia. You can send them to me via email, info@chamiaLaRae.com. Or if you're one of those few people who have my phone number, you can text me, you can call me and say like, girl, whoa, whoa. Some of you have been dropping stuff in the comments on various social media too. All of that to get your love questions, topics, all of that, letters in. And we want to talk about that. Hashtag let's talk about love. So as a reminder, I am not here to put anyone on blast. So I'm not going to be sharing names, yours or the name of anyone you may mention in a love letter or question that you send over, because we're not here for that. We're here about building and supporting and strengthening Black love. So that's where we're coming from. So keep them coming. And let's talk about it. So first, let me pull that up. Okay. So first question says, when dating, when is it a good time to share your inner thoughts and feelings with the person you're dating? We all know the people in our head can be scary, and you don't want to scare someone off too soon by saying too much. Okay, so the question was, when is it a good time to share your inner thoughts and feelings with the person you're dating? What do y'all think? My thoughts on it, you should always be honest. You should always be honest. You should always communicate your needs, certainly. Some of your wants or whatever, but I mean, every thought in your thoughts, some thoughts are just thoughts or fleeting or feelings based on temporary things. So you should always, like in any situation, check yourself and think before you speak. But I think you should always be honest, especially from the start, with your thoughts and feelings with whomever it is that you're dating. And you also can't approach love from a place of fear, because love is not fear. So if you are afraid that someone will be scared off or won't want you because of something you might say, well, one, that's something within you that you need to check. And then two, if it's something that you say that scares them off, well, they weren't meant to be there in the first place. So that's my thought. But in all things, be true. Be true to yourself. Be true to truth. And remember that there is no fear in love, right? Love is a whole bunch of things. It certainly ain't easy, but it's not about fear, or else it's not love. It's certainly not perfect agape love. So you got to set that fear to the side and speak your truth, speak your heart. So that's my response to that. And you do it from day one. So when your question was, when is it a good time to share your inner thoughts and feelings with the person you're dating? From the jump. Now you think before you speak, and you consider, is this how I really feel when you're expressing feelings, or is this just how I'm feeling at the moment? Like, is this how I feel overall? I'm feeling at the moment this way. And you might provide that context as well. And sometimes if you have feelings or thoughts or whatever, and you're dating with a person, it's helpful to talk through. It might change your feelings or your thoughts, or put some context. Like, oh, I was tripping, I was wrong. I was stressed out for nothing, but yeah, keep it real from day one. Share your thoughts and feelings for day one, because the person also needs to get to know you and how you think and how you process, and how you express, even through contentious situations, even if it's within yourself. So that's my thoughts. If you guys have different things, put them in the comments, message me later, let this person know something else, but that's what I would do. All right, next one. Dear Chamia, and first of all, I appreciate y'all, even coming to me and trusting me with this. I certainly am not perfect, and continue to be a work in progress as I continue to grow and prune myself and fertilize and grow more. But I know what I know. And I certainly know what I know about me and about love. And one thing I think that I do well, if I had to offer a masterclass on something, it will be in loving myself and giving love in the world, And so thank y'all for trusting me with that. Keep it coming. Hashtag Dear Love the Movement. All right, Dear Chamia, I haven't been in a real relationship in over a decade. I've dated a lot and have encountered a bunch of what we now call fuckboys. I've definitely put up with a whole lot of stuff I shouldn't have, and for longer than I should have, like cheating, lying, verbal abuse, etc. Most times, to be honest, so that I wouldn't be alone. But here I am, alone. It's hard to not give up and just say, F it. I'll just stay single forever and find someone to scratch that itch when needed. But that's where I am. But that's where I'm at and what I think I should do. I know you talk about love and believe in it, but for real, it's hard to date out here. And it's not like there's hella Black men to choose from anyway, what's your advice for someone like me who has been in these streets for a long time and is tired of the games? That's a lot there. There's a lot there. I'm gonna answer the love part, relationship part separate. But first, I want to address some weaponized language in this. And there's a term that's out here, this fuckboys term. I don't know where it came from. And I know that at some point I've used it, in the past as well. But it's problematic language for us because what is it? I don't know who seeded that in us in our community, but it's everywhere. What makes a fuckboy a fuckboy? That's my first question. What makes a fuckboy a fuckboy? Because how I'm hearing that term used right now is weaponized language. You're putting that label on someone because the relationship isn't what you want it to be. He ain't what you want him to be or hoped he would be. He don't like you how you want him to like you. All these other different things. And so we put this label on this person is trash, because that's essentially what fuckboy is. It's trash, somebody that you don't want, right? That ain't good for nothing but, right? So what is a fuckboy, really? Because if a fuckboy is someone who the relationship didn't work out, he isn't who you thought he would be or who you want him to be, all these other kind of things, why he got to be that? Why can't it just work out and he ain't the one for you? So we got to be careful about putting these labels on people, especially our Black men who already got all of this. And then we talk about relationships don't work, but then we want to drag them and talk about them like a dog. That's not cool. That's not cool. So sis, who wrote this, and you're dating, when you're talking about, I've dated a lot and have encountered a bunch of what we now call fuckboys. Why? Where is there a certain bar, restaurant, dating site that's like fuckboys.com, .net, .app, whatever that is? Like where and how and what makes them so? So that's a question that I have back to you, back to y'all universe, Black community. What is a fuckboy? And how do you become one? Because I'm hearing that so much and I'm feeling a way about it. I'm feeling a way about it from my place of wanting to love on Black men and to love and support Black relationships. And I feel like this language is counterproductive and that's not helping us. All right, so that's just that. Now to the meat of what you're actually talking about, let me get to that. So you dated a lot, things haven't worked out. You've stuck in and dealt with some stuff longer than you should have. So have I. And you find yourself alone and wanting to say, F it, I'll just stay single forever and find someone to scratch that itch when needed. What's your advice for someone like me who has been in these streets a long time and is tired of the game? Well, no one knows but you what you want and what you need. And sometimes we don't even know what we want, right? Sometimes we don't know what we need, but you know best. And if the desire of your heart is to have love in your life, I believe in love. I'm a ever hopeful romantic, not a hopeless romantic. And I feel that you should never give up on love. You should never give up on loving yourself and believing that you deserve love. Now, last time we talked, I said you might have to get yourself together and in a place to where you are who you need to be and your life is set up how it needs to be set up to invite. You've made the space for love in your life. And so I think, maybe that can be the focus. Focus on what I need to do for me, and then love will come. But I would never tell a person to just give up and be single forever. No, that's not Chamia. Like, girl, I wish I could tell you that, but I cannot tell you that. I believe in love too much. I believe in the possibilities. I believe that there are, that it is, you know, there are and it is, whatever are and it is, it, you know, no, so you don't give up. You do, you keep trying and pushing, but figure out from all of these situations that you've had, these experiences that you've had over these years with the people that you've dated, what lessons have you learned from each one about you? What have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about your approach? What have you learned about, have you taken from the outcome, right? Not to say what could I have done differently and if he had just did this. No, it's not about that, but what's the big lessons or you know, from each of those situations? So take some time and reflect and apply. Polish yourself up, dust yourself off, strengthen yourself, prune and fertilize you, right? And keep growing, and you never give up on love. Now, what you may need to do is be a little bit more selective about who you open yourself to. Because if you're dating a whole bunch of people, I mean, I don't know everyone's approach to dating, but I don't date a whole bunch of people. It doesn't, I'm not the type of person where I need to go out and see a whole bunch of people or, you know, spend a whole bunch of time with the person and know that they're not for me or that they are for me, right? So I think maybe, you know, even considering altering your approach and how many people or who or the type of people that you are open to dating. And it's not to say that if they're only in these category on the list, because oh, that's a whole like episode we could do on these whack ass lists that we have in our heads or in our journals about all the stuff people need to. That's a mess and a racket to keep you by yourself. Don't believe that either. But sis, I guess what I would say, you know, I don't believe in games, and the system is set up for us to not be loving on each other. The system is set up to keep us frustrated and by ourselves or in these broken ass, fractured ass, non-committed relationships. That's not what we need. And one of the things that we can do as women, certainly as Black women, is stop participating in that shit. Right? We talk about, you know, being in relationships with people who don't respect us, right? If he's cheating and lying and all of that, remove yourself. You're worth more than that. Oh, I can just scratch that itch, Juanita. Hopefully it's by yourself. Because if you don't want a purely sexual relationship with someone, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those, you know, sometimes it's good to have a lover. But if that's not ultimately what you want, then why are you entering into a relationship where that's what it is? You might have to have more patience and wait. It might take more work. It might take more this, more that, whatever it might be for you. But my point is, don't give up. It's been a long time. Yeah. I have an aunt who was married and then I believe divorced and was separated, you know, by herself and, you know, single for 3 decades, 30 years. Later on, all these years have passed. She's a senior into her, you know, golden years, and rekindled love and packed the suitcase and left and went back with her ex-husband, never looked back. Beautiful. They live happily ever after. I mean, you know, they still living and doing their thing, but you know, love is possible. And I look at stuff like that. And I'm like, they 70 some, 80 some years old and they still finding love and what? It's always possible. Never, ever give up on love. Not on loving yourself, not on giving love to others, even if it's not reciprocated in the way that you expected, or maybe you even wanted or needed, you still keep giving because that's the gift. That is the gift. So I guarantee you, sister, there's some lessons that you can learn if you go back and you take some time. And I don't mean to spend a day or a few minutes reflecting, but spend some time with yourself, reflecting on those past relationships, even on what you actually do want and your approach and what you allow and what you don't want to allow moving forward. And keep hoping, keep living, keep walking in love, keep loving on you in the meantime. All right. So that's my advice. But yeah, tired of the games, don't play them. You know, somebody got a whole deck of cards in a board game, dominoes, whatever. But unless I sit at the table, I'm not engaged. I'm not playing that. And that's the thing too, with the mentality that we have. How you show up, how you engage, has a lot to do with the outcome of a situation in a relationship. Certainly everything is not under your control, right? But you influence that. So if you're tired of playing games, quit playing them. If you're tired of dealing with a certain type of person, stop dealing. You have some power here. And you deserve love. I believe it. If you're ready for it, I don't know, because I don't know you. You know if you're ready. Have you done the work that you need to do on you for yourself to prepare yourself for what you say that you want and that you need in your life? That's what we could do. So it's frustrating. Trust me, I'm single and don't want to be at the moment, you know, but my focus isn't on, oh, woe is me, or I wish who got time to be spending time in that headspace? That's toxic. That's dangerous. That's counterproductive. That's not how I want to be feeling all day. I know the situations. I live with myself all day, every day. I know ain't nobody up in here, you know, right? But what I'm focusing on is loving myself greatly, radiating and giving love to Black community, continuing to be a better me. So that when whomever he is comes along, whoop, 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 and I'm ready and oh, cool. Then we'll go on from there. But I'm not going to start it with playing no games when he knocks on the door. And I'm not going to start it with playing games when he comes and sits down. Like, then I'm taking the relationship on a whole nother place, a whole nother path that I don't want it to go. And I know what that looks like because I've been on that path before. So you have the power to do something different. Sis, keep loving. It's possible. It's possible until you're gone. So keep loving. I believe in that. But, you know, take some inventory of things that you can do better and differently within yourself. Do some reflection on your past relationships and experience of what are the lessons that you're taking from that, and then adjust as needed and keep going, keep growing. All right, so that's all the dear love that I want to do for today for the sake of time, but keep them coming. Keep them coming. Hashtag Dear Love the Movement. DM me at Just Chamia anywhere on social media, or even here at Chamia LaRae if you want to on Facebook, but DM me anywhere on social media at Just Chamia, or email me info@Chamia LaRae. I would love to talk to you because, again, Black love is everything. It's essential. It's revolutionary. This is how I'm fighting against the war that's being waged against us in Blackness, by continuing to love. They don't want us to do that. They don't want us to love ourselves. They don't want us to love how we look. They don't want us to love our hair and our natural skin and our natural bodies. They don't want us to love our differences in size, texture, and, you know, all the different things that make us us. They don't want that. They don't want me to love you. They don't want me to be married. They don't want me to raise a healthy and happy, joy-filled, capable, intelligent Black child. But I'm going to do those things anyway. That's my protest. That's how I'm loving. This Dear Love the Movement is our protest. All right, so come with me. Okay, so before I get out of here today, I want to give some shout outs for Good-ish. One of which, and this is a cool mug / pipe that I have not used. Y'all see ain't nothing in it, but I bought this from Badu World Market. So I don't know if you can see that it has her little emblem on there. So Badu turned 50 this past week, and that's my girl. I love her. We talk about soul food. She has fed me so well over the last, you know, since she came out in 1990, whatever. And I'm grateful for her and for what she does for our culture. So, you know, shout out to Badu, and again, supporting Black business. This was purchased from Badu World Market. So you can see she has all kind of cool stuff. So shout out to Badu. Love her. Shout out to those who are spreading positive vibes, especially in the midst of all of this. So we heard one of the callers in today talking about there's all this craziness going on, and what he's doing is by, you know, doing work in the community and just trying to spread some love and light. So shout out to y'all who are doing that. I want to shout out to Lettucey here from the Bay, who shared something, I think it was last Sunday or so. I'm gonna share my screen because this fed my spirit. I'm gonna play this for y'all. Hold on, I'm clicking so fast.
Know what I would do without your presence, Jesus. Oh, where would I be without you? Hey,
Jesus Christ.
I don't know where I will be. I don't know where I would end up without your presence.
Hallelujah.
Oh, oh.
Y'all, I don't know about you, but for me, I mean, can't nobody just like a Clark sister, right? And that was a bad one, right? But how they do that and all the rest or whatever, and it just feeds my spirit. So thank you, Lettucey, for sharing that video of Dorinda Clark Cole doing her thing, getting into her bag, saying those couple of words, reminding us that God is great, God is the greatest, and I would be nowhere without him. So thank you for that, Lettucey. I appreciate you. Thank you, Dorinda Clark Cole, for that word real quick and them few words and all them scattered, because she had to make it real. And y'all know you feel the church when it just, when somebody make a certain note and it just hit your chakras and everything. And that did that for me. So shout out to you for that. Shout out to the truth tellers, because again, there's a war on truth and there's a war on blackness, right? And so shout out to those who are telling the truth. I appreciate you. Shout out to all of you who have been supporting the Just Chamia show. Thank you. Thank you to all of you who showed up on Facebook today. Thank you for all of y'all who are gonna watch this later. Thank y'all for everybody who posted the promotions and shared it with your people, that texted this, did that, whatever. Thank you for those of you who show up in my life on a regular day. I appreciate y'all so much. And I love you. I want to also remind you that next Sunday, the 7th, March 7th, we will be joined by Dr. Kathia Walters, who is a licensed clinical psychologist, and she is here to talk about Black mental health. So bring your questions. You can send me questions in advance, DM me everywhere at Just Chamia. You can email me your questions, info@Chamia LaRae. Whatever you want to do, get your questions in, because Dr. Walters will be here, and she is very excited. She was very excited to come and talk about Dear Love too. I was like, girl, you gonna say that? She's like, girl, I can't wait. I get to talk about the love life. So she's very excited about that. And I'm excited to have her here with us next Sunday, same time here at 2:00 live Pacific time. So y'all come on for, bring your questions, and we'll have a funky good time next week. Until then, keep being great Black people. Keep spreading Black love, keep being Black love. You know, that's our revolution, right? We can do this. We can do this. You are great. I believe in you. I love you, Black people. I love y'all. I do. And I look forward to seeing you next week. All right. So see you then. Take care.